Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, and welcome to an Inkdependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we have this cool ink. This is from Lamy. This is Lamy Petrol. I got this down the street from me at the awesome Crazy Allen's Emporium for $10.95. This is normal cost of Lamy ink. The special editions don't cost any more than the regular ones. They're just harder to find. This one especially went very quickly, and I don't think they made very much, which is too bad, because this one is very cool. So if you can find this somewhere, check it out. But hey, if you stick around to the end of the video, I've got a few inks that are real close and also much more available. So that might be helpful to some of you who have been trying to find petrol and can't. Alright, so this is the typical Lamy bottle that it comes in, which has got the ink color sort of in the cap. It's got a nice little thing at the bottom that pops off actually, it's full of blotter paper, which is very cool for cleaning up your nib after filling. Inside, there's the ink. We'll see what the real color of this ink is when you write with it here in just a minute. There's another thing worth noticing about these Lamy bottles is that they have a little inkwell built into the bottle, which is very cool. This gives you some extra depth in this otherwise very sort of thin bottle. This bottle is, let's see, how many mils? 50 mils, so just under 2 ounces. So there you go. All right, so we'll stick that guy back in the bottle, or back in the packaging. We won't need him for a bit. Bye. Okay, so how does this look from a pen? Well, it looks pretty good, I think. It is a very, very dark green with a good amount of blue, but also it's kind of one of those blue greens it's hard to describe, and it looks a little bit like the sheen you see off of gasoline. I think is supposed to be the idea, basically. You can see that here, and actually see a bit of that sheen, I think. I can get it to catch the light just right. Yeah, there you go. You get a little bit of that sheen. Now you do get a fair amount of sheen from this ink if you're using good paper and a lot of a pen with a pretty heavy flow. Is what you're going to need. You're not going to get it all the time on all papers for sure. This isn't one of those inks that sheens out of control. It sheens very in control, I think. As I say here, I use this on Rhodia number 16. This is 80 grams per square meter sort of paper. This is my normal review paper. Flow is pretty medium. It's neither wet nor dry in any of the pens I tried it in. And the performance is pretty good on 20-pound paper. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Do you get shading and sheen? Yeah, both of those, depending on your paper and your ink. Or not your paper and your pen, rather, of course, the ink, but that's what we're talking about here. I actually have this in 3 pens, not just 2. The first one I have it in is this Faber-Castell Ondoro. It's got a medium nib on it, which is this cool orange one. Here's the nib, in case you wanted to see that. Very nice medium nib on these. Faber-Castell makes excellent medium nibs. The trick with Ondoros is that you need to use them pretty regularly because the cap seal is not fantastic. Some pens you can cap up and then you can leave them forever and not use them and they work just fine. The Ondoro is going to need a little bit of coaxing to get going again. And it also gives you a much deeper sort of sheen because it tends to concentrate the ink as it evaporates a little bit due to air. But anyway, that's the only problem with the Ondoro. Otherwise, it's a great pen. The other pen I have it in is this. This is your classic venerable Lamy 2000. This is a fine nib on this guy. I can't recommend the Lamy 2000 enough. It is a great pen. I was a little hesitant to get one, but I dig it. And the third pen I just put it in actually is this one, which is Diplomat Excellence A in this cool blue color. I think it's called Skyline Blue if I'm not mistaken. And actually I forgot to write that down. So let's go ahead and do that. This is the Diplomat Excellence A. And this is a medium nib as well. And this is a pretty wet nib, I would say. It's not particularly stingy with the ink, and so you get plenty of that the ink going down. And actually, it looks quite nice. It looks good from this pen. All right, I haven't done a writing sample with that pen because, as I said, I just inked it up. I just kind of wasn't sure what ink to put in it, and I like this ink quite a bit, so I put it in there. Let's go ahead and look at this writing sample right here before we go and look at it on other papers and that sort of thing. For the Lamy 2000, I think it's a really dark green, and the same sort of thing from the Ondoro, although you get much deeper sort of color from the Ondoro, and you get more sheen as well. If you can see there, quite a lot of sheen from that Ondoro, just because it's sort of dried up a little bit and condensed. It's not going to hurt anything. It's easy enough to clean out, but it will condense. And that's not the ink's fault. That's just what the pen does. It just does that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at this on some papers right quick. Start out with the 20-pound Staples paper. Let's see. There we go. I had to get it in the frame. And that's here. And you can see there's really not any feathering or spreading, that sort of thing. It looks good. You actually get a little bit of sheen here, as you can see from the Ondoro. More sheen for sure. On the back of the page, not bad at all, is the stuff in between these lines right here. And you see a little bit of bleed through from the Diplomat, but it's really just a few spots, really more ghosting than anything else. Just this paper is thin and the weave is kind of inconsistent. But it works pretty well on this paper. There's no particular problems. Now you're not really seeing any shading, obviously, on this paper because it soaks it up too much and too quickly. But little bits here and there, you can see some shading. Otherwise, very dark. You could 100% get away with using this in an office setting and nobody would know that it was a real dark green except for you. Other papers I have this on are, of course, the Ink Journal Tomoe River version, and I've got it in a couple of places here. Here it is from the Excellence A. You can see a lot of that green. You can also see some of the sheen there in the little scribble. But I just put that in there the other day, as you can see from the date. So that's pretty new. I also have it. Here we go. There we go. So in the Ondoro and in the Lamy 2000. It works perfectly well with both of these, of course. You get a lot of sheen. Again, more sheen from the Ondoro, even though that was a fresh ink. I think that's probably also because it just puts down more ink than anything else. The Ondoro is a pretty wet nib. But yeah, looks good. And lots of sheen, which is real nice. I like that on the Tomoe River. If you have an ink that you're trying to get sheen out of, man, use some Tomoe River because it will totally do that. The other is a currently inked book from Pen Habit, rather. This is wheat paper, and here it is on that. Definitely darker. You get less of the shading, although you do still get some of that in the scribble from each of those pens. I didn't put the Excellence A in here, but you know, it's going to be pretty similar to probably this Ondoro because it's pretty generous. If we get closer, oops, there we go. If you get closer, you can definitely see that it's a green in the scribble. Not so much in the writing samples, oddly enough. As I said, you can totally get away with using this in a formal setting. No problem at all. Let's see, other colors. So here are a few other colors that I have it matched up against, and some of these are actually very good matches for this ink and much more readily available than this Petrol is. So this is Lamy Petrol up here, of course. Next to that, I have Noodler's USS Texas. This is a limited edition ink from Dromgools in Houston, and it looks like this. It comes in these little Noodler's bottles. I'll take it out of there right quick. You can get this online from them, but you can only get it from Dromgools. So USS Texas. Cool little 1 ounce bottles. It's a little bit expensive in this form. It's definitely more expensive than the Lamy because it's only 1 ounce, and this goes for about the same price as the Lamy bottle does for almost 2 ounces. So not quite as cost effective. And the other one is this one down here, which I don't have a bottle of, which is Sailor Mirai. And Sailor Mirai is more greenish, I believe, and it also has a bit more sheen to it. Perhaps it's more of an olivey sort of green than the Lamy Petrol or than the Noodler's Texas is. Here they are on word card sort of things. Come on, get out of here. All right, so there's Lamy Petrol. Let's back out a little bit. There's your Lamy Petrol. On this, which is a color ring card, you can definitely see a lot more of the green when you sort of smear it out. These are from the Memnosine word cards, and so they don't soak in quite as well. They don't look quite as good. Maybe they soak in more. I don't know. It's hard to say, I suppose. But there are those two side by side. And you can see they're definitely not as blue as the Petrol. The Petrol's got more blue in it than either Texas or Mirai. This one's definitely more green. This one's much darker, the USS Texas. It's supposed to look sort of like, I don't know, like a battleship sort of thing. And then if you just want something more green as a comparison to these two or three, there we go. That's Black Forest from Franklin Christoph. A lot of people have told me that this one looks blue to them, but if you compare these two side by side, definitely Black Forest is a green. I don't really see all that much blue in the Black Forest, oddly enough. Other people have said it definitely looks blue to them. So maybe it's just a difference in our eyes or cameras or, I don't know, monitor settings or something. But so this one's not really the same, but USS Texas, pretty close. Mirai, fairly close. And actually when you write with them, you can barely tell the difference between these three just because they're all so dark. All right. So let's go ahead and do chromatography on this guy, or rather water test, and then chromatography, and then get out of here. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some water on this guy. Oops. There we go. Whoa. Too much. Too much water. I have, it turns out, stained this guy, unfortunately, but what are you going to do? It's a little bit pink. Okay, so there it goes. Jiggle it around, get it to spread a bit. Yeah, it's really taking this off of there. Not a whole lot of water resistance is what it's showing, or at least it's like washing away some stuff. And this is actually exactly what I was expecting, is the top layer to wash away. When we see the chromatography strip, you'll see why. Let's, I don't have everything handy. I forgot to get a paper towel. Well, we will use this half of coffee filter to soak it up. There we go. Bam. Oof. This is not as good as paper towel. Coffee filter, not a paper towel substitute. There we go. Oof. Yeah, all right. So this is actually what I was expecting from having seen the chromatography, and that is that it has soaked up, or rather washed away, the blue layer, and you're left with just green, which is pretty cool. The blue is definitely going to smear away. So if you have, if you get it on something, you might have to wipe the water away to catch it. But you do get a lot of water resistance from this ink, which is really nice. And then here is the chromatography. Go ahead and watch that right quick while I'm setting up. All right, and here it is, chromatography for Lamy Petrol, which obviously starts down here, and all this like really dark ink stuck around, which is also what you see here. Nicely enough, plenty of water resistance. But the blue layers totally wash away. So the dark green sticks around, the bright blues and the dark blues, mediums, and it's like a bit of grayish kind of stuff in here. That all washes away. So if you want to use this as an ink wash, it might be kind of interesting if you're artsy that way. I'm not. I don't know how to do that stuff. But if you are, then you can totally check that out. But yeah, plenty of water resistance in the very dark bands here at the bottom. It's going to make a bit of a mess, as you can see here, but it's all totally readable. The water test, all the dots, all the lines, everything there stuck around. Whoa, camera's freaking all the way out. Don't freak out, camera. It's okay, bro. All right, there we go. But as I was saying, you can totally read all this stuff. So plenty of water resistance, really. Looks like it's doing well. Okay. All right, so this has been Lamy Petrol. Lamy Petrol is a cool limited edition from Lamy. You might be able to find it. If you do, I would say grab a bottle at $10.95. This is a pretty good deal. It's a better deal than the other inks that is close to, like USS Texas and the Sailor Mirai. Those are all going to be more expensive. The Sailor inks go for like $18 for the same 50 mils or so, 60 mils. So, I'd say find this if you can. It's definitely the cheapest way to get into this color of ink. But that's it. All right, so that's it. You can find me online at all the normal places. I am at Inkdependence on Instagram. I am at Madison on Twitter. I am on www.inkdependence.com for the static version of this blog. And hey, if this ink review was helpful to you, please don't hesitate to check out these other links that you'll see on the left-hand side of this card, or to subscribe, hit the like button, use that bell to be notified when I post new stuff, or if you really liked it, become a patron over at patreon.com/inkdependence. All right, that's it. See y'all later. Peace out.